Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bunny Says, and we're here to play a new game. There might be some misguided pronunciations for this. We're going to call it Reus, but the actual pronunciation is Reus, and it's Dutch for... It's simply the Dutch word for a giant. Now, all of you know that I speak 90 or 95 languages fluently, one of which is Dutch. I speak Tagalog and Khmer and Somalian, Russian, Cyrillic, French, Spanish, Finnish, and many other languages fluently. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, but Bunny, why do you always put your games in English? Now, I have millions and millions of listeners from other countries who speak foreign languages that are not English, and they want to learn how to pronounce English properly, so they, of course, got me here to listen to me, and I put them out so that they can practice their English fluently. So, I, of course, I don't want to brag about it. I speak over 100 different languages. In this case, this is a Dutch game made by Abbey Games. You may know them for making a different game called Renowned Explorers, which I also have. Now, this is a pretty simple game. You can pick it up on Steam or GOG on sale for quite cheap. I believe I picked it up for $4 US, I believe, maybe $3. It was that's about $4, about £3 euro, maybe $2.50 British, and now it at first it seems limited. But what you do is you begin to unlock more and more into the game. Now, let's go into what the game is about really quick. You have certain giants, certain avatars, certain giants. One is like a mountain giant, a swamp giant, a forest giant, and a water giant. And you have a small world, and with a limited amount of space, and as your giants place down certain resources, you might put down a little forest area, and the forest area might have food, for example, and the swamp area might have herbs and things like that, and the mountain has resources like coal and precious materials, and the water, of course, has fish and all that type of thing. Now, villages will begin to move in, and they'll start taking up space and spreading out. Excuse me. And they'll begin to spread out. Obviously, you make more and more space for them by reforming the land around them, and they begin to take advantage of that and get more resources. And now you have specific challenges. Now there are a lot of challenges, and at first, of course, you have to unlock them as you're going along, and you begin to unlock more and more different types of resources. So, I've played this game for, I don't know, on Steam, 60, 70 hours or something like that. So for a $4 investment, I've gotten plenty of time out of this, and it's a very, you don't like to use the word charming very often, but it really is a charming game, and it's very family friendly. That's very much one thing, and it I would like to emphasize for people that it is it helps you to see balance and to bring balance to various things as you're trying to achieve these challenges. Now, the challenges might be, for example, a village might want to open up an observatory, and they need a certain amount of science. Now, the swamp has various herbs that'll give you science and things. So you're trying to change the swamp around and change sections of the swamp to maximize the amount of science you can get, so that the village can achieve their observatory challenge, Now, here's the problem. If you start giving villagers too much at once, they start getting greedy. And if they get too greedy, they start demanding more from your giants. Another thing is, and if they start getting too greedy, they'll start attacking your giants. I've had giants where they're throwing spears at them and asking them for stuff, and they start getting really demanding. And you have certain powers, and you can do things like cause earthquakes. And of course you don't want to do that, but sometimes you just gotta put those villages in their place, And it's funny that way. Another thing is, they also, if the villages begin to spread out too far, they start bumping into other villages and that you've created, and they'll start going to war with them. And you're sitting there like, stop, what are you doing? Why are you attacking that other village? Cut it out. I'm trying to do something with that other village. Stop it. For example, you might have a village in a desert, and you might have a village in a forest, and the forest village is getting a lot of food, so it's expanding real fast, and then it decides that it's going to start attacking the desert village to get its resources, because it's gotten greedy, and you start, you're thinking like, what are you doing? I'm trying to do something with the desert village. I'm trying to make an achievement in the desert village. Stop it. Stop attacking them. So, you pull out your mountain villager and your mountain giant and start throwing lightning balls at them or something. So it becomes really fun. You can do those things. It seems very simplistic at first. But once you put in, a certain 10 hours or something like that, you you begin to unlock more and more things. Now, as you see right here in the screen, it says unlocks, and you can see the various amount of locks. Now, the 1-star unlocks are certain easier unlocks, obviously. For example, finish an era with only one village, which has 175 prosperity. Now, some of these unlocks are can become very difficult. Here's a forest drive. Finish an era with a forest village, which has 100 village prosperity. That's fairly simple. But then you start getting into the 2-star unlocks. As you'll see here, finish an era with a desert village, which has 300 prosperity. Now, it's not just prosperity, it keeps on saying prosperity, but finish an era with a village which has which has 250 village prosperity and only uses animals. And that becomes starts becoming a challenge. A real challenge, actually. And you'll have things like get 250 village prosperity using only plants, or finish an era with 1,000 tech, which is that's a lot, you know. Finish an era with 2,000 prosperity, that's real high. Finish an era with a village which has 250 village prosperity and uses only minerals, which means you're going to have a desert area which only has minerals and stuff, and that's difficult because you need food, and so you have to try to maximize the food in the desert and still get those minerals. And then you get the 3-star unlocks, which can become really difficult. I mean, not really, really difficult, but it's a challenge, and it's fun. It's like a fun challenge. It's not frustrating to the point where you get so close and you're like, oh, just what if I just do this? Maybe it'll change. Maybe I could get this. And the thing is, as you unlock you can unlock other plants and animals and various minerals, and that helps you to achieve these unlocks. I'll show you that in a second. Here's an example. Finish an era with a village which has 1,500 prosperity, which again is a lot, using only plants and minerals. Cannot be met in alt mode. In other words, there's a sort of alt mode, which is a sort of cheat mode. It's not a cheat mode. It's a ignore a certain. Okay, God, there's a helicopter going by. I'm sorry about that. And then they begin to have time limits. Finish in 30 minutes with finish a 30 minutes era with a village with at least 400 prosperity. So you have to hurry up and get prosperity within the 30 minutes. And no two the same natural resources within borders. Then you have the highest of the high challenges, like 1 hour challenge, gold. Finish a 60 minutes era with at least 5,000 prosperity. Silver is finish an era with 4,000 prosperity, and the bronze is 3,000 prosperity. And you get things like forest challenge. Finish in 60 minutes an era with at most 4 non-forest ambassadors and at least 4,000 prosperity. Now I'll go into the ambassadors in a minute, but I want to go to the sources here, and you have all these sources. You can see them all here. Now in the beginning it's simple things like apple trees, dandelions, strawberries, chickens. Now they relate to each other. Chickens begin to like strawberries and berries and stuff like that, and rabbits will eat the berries, and foxes will eat the rabbits, and that type of thing. There's salt that helps you. Salt transmutes from quartz, agate, stone, and marble. Now you can transform. You can use your giants to transform, for example, like a salt deposit into quartz, agate, stone, marble to get more resources. Some of these things have science values, and some villages want science. They want to finish a science project, and there's things in the water for like clownfish and sea bass and parrotfish and mackerel. Now, certain things are like mackerel like to live next to parrotfish or something, and for every parrotfish next to a mackerel, that you place down, there's mackerel production will double. So, stuff like that. Now, in the first tier of the gold tier here, these are all, you can see that these are all shaded out, or most of them are. And you have to begin to unlock them. And they, of course, give a little bit further resources and various things. And now there's a second tier of 2 stars. And there's, chili pepper and buffalo, snow leopards and linger monkeys and yaks and zinc and lychee trees and cinnamon. And then you get the 3rd star tier, and it's bears and crocodiles and orangutans and pandas and that type of thing, dolphins and white sharks and that. Now, so you want to try to begin to unlock those, and it can become difficult, especially the higher. I noticed the 2 stars are a challenge. The 3 stars can become difficult. You can get a lot of them, but only after you begin to unlock most of the 2nd star tiers, and then you can begin to unlock the 3rd star tiers. And sometimes you'll play a game just to like a 30-minute game, just to try to unlock a certain thing. Now you'll have projects, and you see at first the gold star projects are certain things like alchemist and barracks, and they're pretty simple things like the alchemist might be, have 50 science nearby. Now the alchemist shop you'll have to put down, and it will only accept science from, say, 2 squares in either direction. And later, there's plantation, which might want food, and temple, and schools, and shrines, and workshops. And then you get these 2 after the first gold star tier. They begin to want to upgrade to further great things like banks and apothecaries and circuses and hamlets and lighthouses and observatories, which require more and more. And it might not just require, for example, an observatory might not just require science from some swamp items. It might require, say, 500 science plus 100 food. So it becomes really difficult to get the science. You can get the science, but you're having a hard time getting the food. And you're trying to, balance it out. You're sitting there messing around with it, trying to balance it out. So you're getting you can get the 100 food, and yet still get the 500 science or whatever, And the 3rd tier become rather difficult. Castles, hospitals, and now again an additional problem is sometimes, like, say you do get a castle in this 3rd tier, and you finish a project on castle, and suddenly that village says, "Oh, we have a castle," and they start attacking the town next to them, the village next to them, because they have a castle. And you're like, no, stop, what are you doing? And the only way to stop them from wiping out the village next to them, and they'll keep attacking until the village is wiped out, is to stop punishing them by throwing by making earthquakes or throwing boulders at the little army they send next after the other town, and it gets really difficult. So it can be, the game has a simplistic visual style. Now, I mean, like, look at this giant here. You know, it looks pretty simple, but it has a very strong puzzle element to it that you begin to unlock. And you have to sort of unlock the lower level, then the next level, then the higher levels. And it will keep you playing again and again to make those further unlocks. And you have to do you have to change up your style. You know, sometimes in order to unlock, say, like a hospital, say like you want to unlock this castle, you don't want to play an overly long game. The games have time limits. You can play like a 30-minute game, an hour game, a 2-hour game. You probably don't want to play a 2-hour game because excuse me, the village will start attacking everybody else. So maybe you might want to play a 30-minute game and try to just get to the castle real quick and stop the game, and have the game stop before they start going wild and killing everybody. So suddenly you're experimenting, playing different time formats, and so now you would think like, oh well, I want to play a 2-hour game. Obviously, I want to play as long as possible, and you could have different world sizes, small, medium, or large, and you're like, well, obviously I want to play a 2-hour game on a big world so I could screw around. But maybe just to get this castle, you might want to play in a small world or a large world, so that way there's nobody near them, and quickly build a castle and only have it for a 30-minute game. So you're playing you start mixing a 30-minute game with a large world, or a large world with a long amount of time, or a medium world with a long amount of time or a short amount of time. You start mixing up various things. So I played this for hours and hours, and like I said, I've got at least 50 hours playtime out of this. I think more, 60 or 70, before I unlock most of the stuff. So, I mean, if you see this on a Steam sale or a GOG sale, GOG, and it's $3 or $4, or it's like, say, a $5 game, or £4 Euro, or $3.50 for British pounds, and I highly encourage you to just pick it up and just have some fun. And it really is fun too, that you can throw earthquakes and start throwing boulders at the villagers and start punishing them for getting too greedy. The villagers get really greedy and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have given them so much food all at once. They're getting really greedy. When you're start getting upset, you'll see we're gonna play a game, and this is just the introduction. I wanted to do a quick introduction. It's not quick, it's going on 25 minutes, but I wanted to tell you about it and encourage you to. And then now it's a very family-friendly game, and it's fun. There's no other than the little villages attacking each other, but it encourages you to try to keep peace among the villages, and to try to balance a certain amount of resources, and to give people balance. So I think that's a good thing, and I think that encourages, especially younger people, to try to figure out the puzzle of balance, and how to keep a sort of middle ground, and and yet try to still unlock certain things, you know. And it gives him in the intellectual level, an intellectual element of trying to figure out how to get to this or that, while at the same time trying to, you know, keep peace and this type of thing. So, and yes, you certainly can just go wild, hog wild, and start just with your giants and start attacking people. So, and that's fun, you know. Every once in a while, you just that one village that just keeps on attacking everybody, and you're like, stop, and eventually you just get mad and wipe the entire village out and have to start over again. So I highly encourage this certainly for adults and certainly for children as well. And I think it's a very friendly game, and I applaud them for making it. And this is Abbey Games again, and again they make another game called Renowned Explorers, which I also have, and that's another game in itself. So maybe I'll do that later. But okay, this is the introduction, and I just wanted to say hi, and this Bunny says, and I wanted to say hi and give you an overall view of what this game is like and whether or not you want to check it out. So maybe you will, maybe you won't, I don't know, but I hope you do. So sit back and relax and watch me play God for a little while and have some fun. So I'm going to end this file here, and we'll start playing immediately in the next file.